3 days. That's how long the heaviness in his chest kept showing up after lunch, before he finally came into the emergency department, in his late 60s, apologizing for wasting my time. It wasn't indigestion. What stayed with me wasn't the heart attack, it was the apology. Because the habit that nearly killed him wasn't on any diet sheet. It was a way of thinking, and it's one of 7 ordinary things people over 60 do every day that quietly work against them. And I'll give you the most important one in the middle of this, not the end, because it's the one I most need you to actually hear. After years in the emergency department, I stopped being surprised by the dramatic stuff. What I never got used to was how often the real damage came from small, invisible habits that nobody had ever flagged. Not cigarettes, not obvious mistakes, ordinary routines that were completely fine at 45 and quietly stopped being fine at 65. Here's the reframe I want you to carry through this whole video. At 45, your body forgives. You skip water, you rush a meal, you sit too long, and it quietly cleans up after you. After 60, the body stops forgiving and starts keeping score. Same habits, different body. The routines have to change with it, and almost nobody tells you which ones. So here's what we're doing. 7 habits doctors now urge people over 60 to drop, each with the mechanism underneath it, so you're not just taking my word for it. And unlike most countdowns, I'm not saving the most important for last, because most people don't make it to last. I'm putting it right in the middle. Stay with me, because a couple of these will sound too small to matter, and those are exactly the ones that matter most. Let's start with the one you're probably doing right now, as you watch this. Stop sitting longer than about 30 minutes without moving. And I know the objection already, because I heard it constantly. I'm not sedentary, doc. I walk every morning. Here's the part that surprises people. The damage from long sitting is separate from your morning walk. You can do your 30 minutes at dawn and still spend the afternoon undoing it in your recliner. Picture your big leg and hip muscles as sponges again. When you sit for a long, unbroken stretch, those sponges go to sleep, and your body's ability to pull sugar out of your blood drops sharply. Your circulation slows in the lower legs. And here's the one that lands people in my department. When you finally stand up after 90 minutes, your blood pressure can lag behind. Your head goes light, and you sway. That's called orthostatic hypotension, a fancy phrase for your blood pressure not catching up when you stand, and it is one of the most common triggers for a fall in older adults. A fall that starts with a broken hip and ends, too often, with a life that never fully returns to independence. This one is free. Put a kitchen timer on for about 25 minutes. The moment it buzzes, get on your feet, cross the room, and step in place for 60 seconds. That's it. That single interruption wakes the sponges back up, restarts circulation, and steadies your blood sugar for the rest of the day. Researchers have a name for these little breaks: movement snacks. 2 or 3 minutes every half hour or so. Tiny, and they add up to something your morning walk alone can't buy you. And here's a small trick for the dizziness. When you stand from a chair or the bed, do it in 2 stages. Sit on the edge, count slowly to 10, then rise. Those 10 seconds give your blood pressure time to catch up. One more thing, and if you take pills for pressure or sugar and you start breaking up your sitting, some people respond well enough that a dose has to come down. So flag the change with your doctor. Movement can be strong enough to change a prescription. That's how real it is. Next one, and it happens 3 times a day without you thinking about it. Stop eating fast. I don't mean chewing like it's a competition. I mean the ordinary speed most of us eat at, especially in front of the television, where a plate can vanish in 8 minutes. Here's why it matters more after 60. When you inhale a meal, all that food hits your system at once, and your blood sugar spikes in a sharp, high wave instead of a gentle rise. Over time, those repeated sharp spikes push your body toward insulin resistance, which is your cells slowly going deaf to the hormone that's supposed to let sugar in. This isn't a small effect, not a rounding error, a real, measurable shove toward diabetes. In a study out of Hiroshima University, tracked over 5 years, fast eaters were several times more likely to develop metabolic syndrome, that cluster of high blood sugar, blood pressure, and waist size that leads straight toward diabetes and heart disease, than slow eaters. The researchers put it bluntly: eating fast causes bigger glucose swings, and they believed it applied just as much to Americans. Larger reviews since then point the same direction. There's a second reason. Your brain takes 15 to 20 minutes to get the message that you're full. Finish in 8, and you've eaten past full before the signal even arrives. So the fix does two jobs at once. Put your fork down between bites. Actually set it on the plate. Aim to make the meal last at least 20 minutes. It sounds almost too simple to bother with, and it quietly flattens your blood sugar and trims how much you eat, without changing a single thing on your plate. Now, the next one is a beloved morning ritual, and I'm going to give you the honest version, not the scary internet version. Stop reaching for coffee before you've had any water. You wake up, and within 5 minutes, you're holding a warm mug. For most of your life, that was completely fine. Here's what changes after 60. You've just gone 7 or 8 hours without fluids, breathing, and running your kidneys the whole time, so you wake up mildly dehydrated. And the thirst signal, the thing that's supposed to tell you to drink, gets quieter with age. So a lot of older adults are running low on fluid before they even stand up, and they don't feel it. Now, I want to be honest here, because you may have heard that coffee dehydrates you, and that's overstated. For regular coffee drinkers, coffee is only mildly diuretic, and the water in it still counts. So I'm not going to fearmonger about your coffee. What I am saying is simpler and true. Starting the morning a little dehydrated raises the odds of that lightheaded spell when you stand, stiffens your joints, and fogs your thinking. And it's trivially easy to fix. Before the coffee, drink 1 full glass of water, room temperature. That single glass gives your circulation a gentler start and takes the edge off the morning dizziness. Keep the coffee, just let water go first. People who make that one swap often notice steadier mornings within days. Small sequence change, real payoff, 0 cost. All right, this is the one I told you I'd put in the middle, and it's the reason I made this whole video. If you take nothing else, take this. Stop talking yourself out of the signals your body is sending. This isn't a food or a gadget. It's a pattern of thinking, and in my experience, it is the single most dangerous habit people carry into their later years. You know the script because you've probably run it. You get short of breath on the stairs. I'm just out of shape. A vague tightness behind the breastbone after eating. Must be heartburn. Puffy ankles by nightfall. Stood around too much. A name you know goes missing for a second. Just worn out. 3 weeks of a fatigue that won't lift. That's just getting older. Every one of those explanations sounds responsible, and that's exactly what makes them dangerous, because the body over 60 doesn't announce trouble the way it did at 40. Here's the part I most need you to hear. A heart attack in an older adult, and especially in a woman, often doesn't arrive as crushing chest pain like in the movies. It shows up as unusual fatigue, a heaviness in the jaw or the back, nausea, breaking into a sweat, or just a deep sense that something is wrong. A stroke can be a face that droops on one side, an arm that drifts down, or speech that comes out slurred. Early kidney decline has no symptoms at all, which is why 9 out of 10 people who have it don't know. Rising blood pressure quietly damages your vessels for years without a single feeling. The most serious threats after 60 are the quiet ones. By the time they shout, you've lost options. So, let me give you the latter, because I never want to hand you fear without a plan. Most odd sensations are nothing, and you don't need to panic over every twinge. Here's how to sort them. If something's mild and it comes and goes, write it down. The date, what it felt like, how long it lasted, what you were doing. If the same entry lands in that notebook 3 times inside a fortnight, take it with you, phone the office, and ask to be seen. Not next year, but soon. If something is new, persistent, or getting worse, call your primary care doctor and schedule a visit. If it needs attention today, but isn't an emergency, that's what urgent care is for, and it's far faster and cheaper than the emergency room. But some things skip every rung. Chest pain or pressure. Sudden, severe shortness of breath. Any stroke sign. The drooping face, the weak arm, the slurred speech. Fainting. For those, you call 911, and you do not drive yourself. I know an ambulance feels dramatic and expensive. Here's the truth from the other side of it. The ambulance starts treatment on the way, and the emergency room sees you faster when you arrive by ambulance. Those minutes are the ones that save heart muscle and brain. And I want to say this plainly because it's the whole point. Getting checked and sent home is a good outcome. It is not wasting anyone's time. Nobody in my department has ever rolled their eyes at the person who came in and turned out to be fine. We roll our eyes at nothing. What breaks our hearts is the person who waited and apologized and lost the window. You've spent 60 or 70 years learning to read this body. When it tells you something new, that's not you being dramatic. That's data. Respected. That's the one in the middle. If you send one part of this to your parents, send that part. Now let's get back to the quieter habits because they matter too. Stop skipping protein at breakfast. This one is quietly deciding whether you can get out of a chair on your own in 10 years, and almost nobody connects those dots. Here's the mechanism. After 30, you slowly lose muscle, roughly 1% a year, and after 60, that loss speeds up if you don't defend against it. Muscle is built from protein, and here's the piece most people have never heard. Your muscles don't respond to just any amount of protein. They respond to a threshold. There's an amino acid inside protein called leucine, and think of it as the ignition key for muscle building. If a meal doesn't deliver enough leucine, the engine doesn't turn over, no matter how healthy the meal looks. For an older adult, that threshold is roughly 25 to 30 grams of quality protein in a single meal. And here's why breakfast is the problem. Most people load almost all their protein into dinner and eat toast or cereal in the morning, which barely turns the key. So they wake up, spend the whole morning breaking muscle down with nothing to rebuild it, and never quite catch up by night. It's why so many older adults eat what looks like enough protein and still lose strength. The total might be fine. The timing misses the switch 3 times over. And here's a belief I need to break, because it fools a lot of thin, healthy-looking people. Being slim does not mean you have enough muscle. You can be a normal weight, even a low weight, and be quietly hollowing out on the inside, losing the very muscle that keeps you upright. Doctors have a name for it, sarcopenia, which just means muscle loss with age. The scale can look perfect while your legs get weaker every year. So don't let a normal weight talk you out of this. The mirror and the scale are not measuring the thing that matters here. And this isn't about looking good. Muscle after 60 is your fall insurance. It's your walking speed, your balance, your ability to catch yourself, and how well you bounce back from an illness or a surgery. It is, quite literally, how you stay in your own home instead of someone else's care. So the fix is to move some protein to the morning. Aim for that 25 grams at breakfast, 2 or 3 eggs, Greek yogurt or cottage cheese, a little leftover chicken or fish. If your appetite's small in the morning, a simple protein shake counts. One note: if you have kidney disease, your protein needs are different, so check with your doctor first. For everyone else, this is one of the highest return changes on this whole list, and it happens before 9 in the morning. Next, an evening habit that quietly raises your blood pressure while you sleep. Stop going straight from the television into bed. You know the pattern. The news or something tense until 10, lights off, straight under the covers. Then you lie there wired for 45 minutes and wake at 2 feeling like you never really slept. That isn't really about sleep. It's about your nerves being stuck in the wrong setting. You run on 2 settings. One is alert and stressed, the gas pedal. The other is calm and restful, the brake. Restorative sleep needs you to shift onto the brake before you close your eyes. And after 60, that shift takes longer and breaks more easily. Screens pour in bright blue light that suppresses melatonin, your sleep signal. Tense news keeps your stress hormones up. Go straight from that into bed, and you drag the stress into your sleep. Here's the part that matters for your heart. Normally your blood pressure dips at night while you rest. When your nights are agitated, that dip doesn't happen. And blood pressure that stays high overnight is a recognized cardiovascular risk, not just an annoyance. Doctors call the healthy pattern dipping, and losing it is its own quiet danger. The fix is a 45-minute landing strip before bed. Bring the lights down low. Kill the news broadcast. Leave the phone charging in a different room, well away from the bed. Read something calm, or do that slow breathing, in for 4, out for 6. That longer exhale nudges you onto the brake and lowers your resting heart rate within minutes. A single unhurried hour before bed genuinely reshapes how your heart behaves until morning. Now the last one, and it's the one that turns you from a passenger into a partner in your own care. Stop taking your medications without tracking how they're affecting you. I'll assume you take them. The gap is what happens after. Most people over 60 are on 2 or 3 prescriptions, many on 5 or more, and they take them on autopilot and wait until an appointment months away to mention anything. Here's the problem. Doses for blood pressure, blood sugar, thyroid, and heart rhythm all need calibration over time. And the dose that was right last year may be wrong now because your weight changed, your diet changed, or another pill got added to the mix. In symptoms you're blaming on aging, the fatigue, the dizziness, the fog, the swelling, are often side effects nobody connected because nobody was tracking. So become the tracker. And if blood pressure is one of yours, measure it right, because most home readings are done wrong. Sit quietly for 5 minutes first. Feet flat on the floor, back supported, arm resting at heart height. Don't talk, don't scroll. Take 2 readings a minute apart and write down the average. Do it at the same time each day for a week. A cuff used that way gives your doctor real signal instead of noise. 1 line a day. Your blood pressure if you have a cuff at home. An energy number from 1 to 10, and any odd symptom. 2 weeks of that gives your doctor more usable information than any single visit built on memory. And here's a piece of gold most people over 65 never use. If you're on Medicare, you get a free annual wellness visit, no copay, and most people never book it. That visit is the perfect place to bring your 2-week log. Bring every bottle you take in a bag and ask one question. Do I still need all of these at these doses? That single question, asked with real data in hand, is one of the most powerful things you can do for your own health. Doctors even have a word for it: de-prescribing. Carefully taking away the pills you no longer need. It's a real medical goal, not you being difficult. More is not always safer. Sometimes the 5th pill is treating a side effect of the 3rd. You are your own most important monitor. What you notice between visits is information your doctor simply cannot get any other way. Let me pull all 7 together, because I don't want you leaving with a list you'll forget by dinner. Group them in your head into 3 piles. Things to stop, things to start, and one thing to never do again. Stop sitting for long, unbroken stretches. Stop inhaling your meals, and stop diving straight from the screen into bed. Start your morning with a glass of water and a real dose of protein, and start a simple daily log of how you feel on your medications. And the one to never do again, the one from the middle. Never explain away a new signal from your body, just to avoid making a fuss. If you remember one sentence from all of this, remember this. After 60, your body whispers before it shouts. Your job isn't to panic at every whisper, it's to write the whispers down, and to take the loud ones straight to a doctor. And here's your one small step, because you don't do all 7 tonight. Choose the one habit here that hit closest to home, and change only that. A glass of water before tomorrow's coffee. Your fork down between bites at dinner. A notebook on the nightstand. One change, held for 2 weeks, moves more than 7, changes you quit by the weekend. Your body at 60, 70, 80 is still responding to what you do today. And if this helped you notice something you hadn't seen before, share it with the person in your life who most needs to hear the part from the middle. It could matter more than you know. 1 glass of water, 1 notebook. That's where this starts.